We are going to be working in Google Drawings. So first off, you want to practice. So here's some things that I like to do. So first off, when you're trying to get to Google Drawing, just type into your search bar Google Drawing and it should pop up right away. From there, you're going to go into your file, but you need to find your image. So maybe you found one online that you're going to be working with. Maybe you're using your own photo that you're going to be working with. I like to make sure that there's not too many details in there. So something a little bit larger helps for this project, but you'll save it to your computer. So whether it's an image that you're using of your own, one that you found online, or the one that I'm giving you, make sure that you're saving it as a file that you know where it is or what the file name is. That's going to make uploading it into here much easier. Now pay attention to the shape of your image. Is it up and down or is it side to side? If it's side to side, you can leave your Google Drawing how it is. If it is up and down, then you're going to want to follow these steps here. So I go under File, I go to Page Setup, and instead of Standard 4:3, you go to Custom, and then you just switch the sides. So I have 7.5 by 10 instead of 10 by 7.5. Switch it, and now it's the same proportions, but now it's up and down. From there, you'll insert your image. All right, and then if you have done that part previously properly, you're going to be uploading from the computer. So you want to get your image to kind of match the same size as the entire background. If it's not totally matching, if you actually double click on it, you can change the crop lines so that it actually fits it properly. But you need to zoom in. You don't want to stretch it in a way that it actually misforms your picture. You want to make sure it's staying accurate. So grab from the corner, and actually if you press and hold the shift key while you're doing that, that will help prevent any adjustments. So on Google Classroom, I put together kind of like a little cheat sheet of sorts for you to use as a reference. So it's not a bad idea to have this in a separate tab, but just little shortcuts that kind of make your life easier. Zooming in, zooming out, sending it forward, sending it backwards. And you'll kind of see me using these things throughout. But if you can use these, it does save you a decent amount of time. You'll also want to make sure that you're saving your Google Drawing. Once again, go your last name, dot, and then just title it something that you know what it is, so that it's a lot easier to find this file. Now for this project and for the practice, you're going to be using the polyline tool, and if you need to, you can use different shapes and arrows and stuff like that throughout, kind of depending on what it is that you do with your project. But I'm going to start out with that shape, and I'm just going to start with a background. I find it easiest to do a background and work my way forward. So if you notice, my picture is off to the side of my actual Google Drawing, so I can trace something on the picture on the left and then slide it over to the actual final on the right. So I start with my background and I kind of work my way forward, and you'll kind of see me kind of going through it. So you don't want to use the scribble tool. I've had people use that, and you don't get quite the same outlines. All right. So you'll want to make sure you're using this polyline tool. So I pick an object, once again, starting in that background, really simplifying it. So I have my background sky, and I'm going to be creating like a background base here. And you just kind of click every time you want things to turn. So I go corner to corner to corner, basically. And once you have clicked back at the beginning, then it completes your shape, and your shape is done. Once your shape is done, once again, I'm moving it over to the side, but you'll want to make sure that you don't have a border. Those border lines actually take away from your project, so you want to make sure you change those to transparent. And then you want to think about your different values. So I want my sky to look different from my ground, so I kind of did some changing up with the colors here. It does not have to be realistic. I'm looking at those values and making sure that it looks interesting. So you can see my sky and my ground are now different, going back to that polyline tool and continuing this process to trace my ox, just the general shape of it, and then kind of work my way forward. You'll find zooming in like this actually makes a huge difference in the quality of your project. It allows you to kind of see those details, see value changes a lot easier than leaving it zoomed out. So you can see that you can't really curve your line. So that's kind of where a lot of us are going to be having this very geometric effect with our pictures. So you'll see just every time I click here, click, click, click. And that's how those short lines eventually create kind of the general outline. Not looking for perfection because we are doing something with this polyline tool. But I do expect that you're kind of doing your best to kind of follow those forms. So you can kind of see, just click, 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 and it's just short little lines that create this full outline. So when doing this, you can see that I just follow the general form of the body. All right, now when I kind of look at that, I once again, I'm changing my outlines, and then I'm going back in. If you double click on the object, this is where you can kind of see that I had screwed up on my line. I don't know where that border is, so I actually zoom in or shift that anchor point in, and then I can adjust it so that it actually fits the actual image. All right, so if you ever screw up, then use anchor points to help fix that. I can see that my image is flush up against the top, about in the center of the actual photo is what it kind of ends up looking like. So I make sure that it's up against the top, and sizing wise it looks pretty accurate. So I'm going to move on from there. So now I'm going to be moving on. I'm looking at different value changes here. So I can see that there's a little bit of a highlight here in this little section. So I'm going to focus on this highlight next. All right. It's kind of subtle, so I'm not going to make a huge value change from the background, but I do want it to kind of pop out. So for the ease of getting things to line up, I actually am just kind of treating this as the background for this entire half, because I can see that there's going to be other values in here. And I find it easier to overlap versus just trying to get things to fit together like a puzzle. You can see that I lightened that value then to kind of match a little bit more. I know that it's popping out from that background piece now. I kind of screwed up there because I kept trying to click off of that. Good old polyline tools, sometimes that happens. But anyway, I'll take it and then I will move it over and see now I have it to, I know that it's touching the edge of the background shape and I know that it's touching the edge of the top, and that's where I have it there. So then I go into the next value. So I can see that there's that little strip of, it's not quite as dark as the rest of it, but it's darker than the other base. So I'm going to be outlining that next and then going out from there. All right, you can see that I end up not using the full shape, and you can just kind of see different techniques being used here. But that's kind of the purpose of this practice, is you're going to find those things that work out best for you. This is what I like to do, and it's all about that end result, whether or not it looks good or not. So you can see that I have a different value there. It's not going to match the one on the original image. I just know that it's darker than the base. All right, and darker than the highlight, but then I will do the next section as being the darkest. So just really paying attention to those values, and that's kind of what you're using as your outlines. Those values are what creates those details, what creates that quality, and just creates that interest in those forms. So Make sure you're paying attention to each of those values. Don't worry about every single little thing, but just look at those general areas. One thing that you should notice as I am working on this here is that every time I click, it has that red circle. And so the more times you click and the more anchor points you create, the more smooth and the more rounded your shapes can be. If you're having fewer anchor points or they're spaced apart a little bit more, you're not going to have quite the flexibility to round out your shapes, and it just gets a little bit more of a geometric feel. So depending on your area, sometimes the geometric shapes work better. Other times you want that rounded edge. And you'll see here too as well, sometimes you'll click and then you accidentally end a shape early, and that will happen, and it's probably going to happen a lot, because if you double click or if you click on an anchor point that you've already created, it actually ends the creating of your shape. So sometimes I found that I had to stop trying to create an area and come back to it later on. So food for thought. All right. And then make sure that you're using kind of like those color schemes, right? So if you've noticed with my colors, I've kind of created a bunch of custom colors. Well, that allows me to use similar colors throughout, or colors that are very, similar color schemes, or just really just that kind of that same tone. And that really helps kind of unify the piece. If your colors are too different from each other, it actually ends up looking kind of weird, because you want it to feel like it's all one piece, not a bunch of pieces thrown together. One little time-saving thing you'll see here is that if you have the colors selected, you can draw multiple shapes. If they're the same value or same hue, you can draw multiple on your picture and then carry them all over together, and then that way they are in the correct spot, and then they're matching colors and matching values. So I found that to be quite helpful from time to time. Another thing that I find helpful is actually when you're creating a shadow, or you just want something to be a little bit more subtle, is to actually end up making it transparent. So when you end up selecting the color, you end up wanting to go under custom, and you add that little extra one, and you change the transparency down a little bit. That allows that other color to seep through a little bit more, which I think creates a little bit more of that shadow effect. It makes it a little less bold. And I don't know, I just think it looks pretty nice in some areas. If you've noticed throughout making this, I kind of have left it pretty sloppy, and that's fine for getting that main area done, because I find that making the shapes themselves is probably the hardest and the most time-consuming piece. But then the most important piece I have found is actually this part here, where you go back in, you're making sure that layers are where they're supposed to be, bringing things forward, sending them back, changing your anchor points to make sure that they are accurate, that they're lining up, you're not having really weird gaps. And so to change those anchor points, make sure you're double clicking, and then you kind of adjust them accordingly. All right. Also, when I looked at the full thing, I found that I really didn't have really great highlights, and so I didn't have quite the value contrast that is necessary for this project to be successful. So I went in, and that's what I'm making here, is I'm making these little highlights. I'm finding those really light areas to bring over, because that contrast is what brings that project to the next level. Is that I have very dark areas, I have very light areas, and I have different values in between. Time to save your artwork. Make sure that it is your last name, and then you can title it whatever after that, but then you'll go under File, Download, JPEG. It automatically downloads to your computer for you, and then you'll be able to upload to Google Classroom from there. So good luck.